Hi guys, Tyler Leung here and my partner G. We have an awesome topic to go over today, and it is the topic of serves. People have talked about this topic for many years and spent a lot of hours just studying it and practicing it, and so this is something that you can really dive deep into. And so we're going to try and do a broad overview of some of the key characteristics or important things to know about serving. Before we get going, I always like to ask my partner G what his thoughts are on the topic, what's important, or what do you think about serves?
I think it's most important to get them in, make sure you play the point, and then the deeper the better, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Historically speaking, serves have pretty much not been used as a weapon. In today's game, that is changing slightly. You are starting to see a few more players go for a little bit more on their serves. They're seeing a few more free points. You're still not seeing a lot of free points, but every once in a while, you might get one or two extra points that you normally wouldn't have gotten. I personally teach all my students the number one thing. What is the number one thing you think people should know about serves?
Mix it up. Have a routine.
Okay, those tie into it, but the number one thing I tell everybody is consistency. There's so many players that go out there and they think it looks cool, or they try to hit a serve really hard. The most important thing is consistency. If you miss that serve, you are giving your chance away to get a point. And so it is better for you to get the serve in rather than to be flashy and hit it really hard. I always tell people, once you are consistent, then you can work on the second most important thing, is location, is where you're hitting that serve on the court. And then the third most important thing, what do you think that is?
Speed.
Speed and power, yep. Once you have those first two items down, then you can work on speed and power, okay? But not until then. And I see too often many lower level players or even higher level players, they try to work on the speed before they have consistency, and that doesn't work out well for them. And so in today's lesson, we're going to go over some of the things that I like to focus on. First is consistency. Consistency is pretty basic, it's pretty self-explanatory. Being consistent is being able to make the ball in over and over and over again. I always tell my students, if I were to give you $100, would you be able to make 20 serves in a row every single time? If they can do that, then that's when you work on the next thing, which is location. And then once you start setting up targets and zones, and you can hit the balls in those targets and zone areas pretty frequently, then that's when you start working on the power. Okay, so the first thing we talked about was consistency, and there's really no other way to practice this other than practice itself. And so what I like to do is go out there and stay on one side, and I like to do 10 balls in a row. If I miss one, I go back to 0. I restart it. And so right now we're going to abbreviate this just for the purpose of this video, but we want to go out there. You want to remember to keep everything the same. You want to keep the same routine, whatever that is, you want to keep that the same. I've seen people go up there, they do different things every single time, and you want consistency with the routine itself. And so you want to get out there, and for me, I like to go out there and keep it as simple as possible. I get out there, right here, I bounce it, and then I go. All right, there's 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4, 5 for 5. And so I just barely made 5 out of 5, and I know I can do that 50 out of 50, 100 out of 100. And so for me, consistency is not an issue. So now what we're going to do now is go to location. And for location, that's where I'm going to set up targets on the other side, and then we're going to hit towards those targets. You can be as strict as you want with these, or you can be a little bit more lenient. I set up a target and I don't move on to the next target until I'm able to knock that target over. And by doing so, you're increasing your accuracy, and then you can really pinpoint where you start off the point. You can start it off with their forehand, with their backhand, jamming them in the middle, and that is really effective for you as a server. Do you have any questions on serve placement, or what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, do you stand anywhere between here, or?
So there are pros and cons to everything, and so the pros to standing over here is you're closer to the other side, and so you're able to move over here quicker, But what happens when you stand over there? What do you think that gives you?
Angles.
It gives you more angles. And so oftentimes I like to stand in the middle, because if you are playing doubles, your partner should be over here. In singles, it's a different story. But doubles, I like to stand a little bit more over here to give myself a little bit more angle with a serve. That's a good question. So I like to put the cone right here because generally speaking, this is going to be to their backhand side. And then over here, I like to put a cone to their forehand side. I don't put it right here in the corner, because if you're aiming right here in the corner and you miss hit it by a couple inches, guess what? That's going wide out or over here, okay? But if your cone, your target is right here and you miss hit a little bit, guess what? That ball is still most likely in, okay? Thing we talked about was power. Now this is where you might miss a little bit more, especially in practice, but that's okay, because you know that you can make 50 out of 50 balls and you can hit the balls in different locations. What I'm focusing on here is two things: arm speed and then legs and rotation. I'm going to swing as fast as I can right now with this ball. Now I'm going to add my legs in, and we're going to see how much of a difference that adds to it. Okay? We're going to watch G do the same thing. Just use those arms for the first one. Okay? And now really try to throw your body weight into it. Awesome. So once again, this is practicing power, and you're going to miss a lot more, but that's okay, because this is practice and you're not going to be perfect, but this will translate into matches. We're going to keep practicing this, and then we'll move on. Don't miss. Nice. Okay. Come on. Jeez. Boom. And I hope you enjoyed today's lesson on serves. Remember, the most important things are, what are they, G? The top three things?
First, be consistent. Second, location. Third, power.
Okay, awesome. So first things first, you've got to be consistent. I see way too many people, they try to rip the ball and they are not consistent. There's no reason, no way you should be missing more than one serve an entire match. You shouldn't be missing more than 0. 1 is somewhat understandable, but any more than 1, you've got to go back and be more consistent. Then after that, you've got to work on location. You've got to be able to start pinpointing these areas on the court. It's going to set up the point right away. It's going to be a lot easier for you to do what you want to do. And then once you get those first two things, then that's when you can start working on a little bit more power. The power will add a little or a different dynamic to the game, whereas if you don't have power, it's going to be a little bit easier for the returner to hit those in. Once again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for our next video.